Alright. Hello everyone. This is just gonna be what I hope is a very chill playthrough of Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. So, this is a game that's interesting to me, because it had a lot of people get really angry at it, but it's not really the type of game that I find to be frustrating. Like, sure, it makes you reset a lot when you first start. You can fall and lose a lot of progress, but it's not really the type of game that I feel was worth getting mad at, because its goal was to make you mad.
There's no feeling more intense than starting over.
So,
You deleted your homework the day before.
I'm gonna actually let him talk
as I have. Or if you left your wallet
as I make this
you have to
climb.
go back after spending an hour in the commute. If you won some money at the casino,
And I hope I don't go so fast that
if you got your
I
shirt dry cleaned before
don't
bed,
get to
you
actually
immediately
respond to
got
him
$3.
speaking.
If you won an argument with a friend and then later discovered that they just returned to their original view, starting over is harder than starting up. If you're not ready for that, like if you've already had a bad day, then what you're about to go through might be too much. Feel free to go away and come back. I'll be here. Alright, thanks for coming with me on this trip. I'll understand if you have to take a break.
Just some nice,
Just find a
chill
safe place to
piano.
stop and quit the game.
I
Don't
really like the
worry, I'll
soundtrack
save
of
your
this game.
progress, always, even your mistakes.
So the main gimmick of this game
This
is
game is an
honestly
homage
just
to a free
you
game
windmill
that came out
and you
in
pogo,
2002
and that's it.
called Sexy Hiking. The author of that game was Jazuo, a mysterious Czech
It's
designer
it's
who was known
clunky.
at the time as the father of B games. And B games are rough assemblages of found objects. Designers slap
But it was
them
made to
together
be
very
clunky.
quickly and freely, and they're often too rough and unfriendly to gain much of a following. They're built more for the joy of building them than as polished products. In a certain way, Sexy Hiking is the perfect embodiment of a B game. It's built almost entirely out of found and recycled parts, and it's one of the most unusual and unfriendly games of its time.
So
In it, your task is simply to drag yourself
for the
up a
most
mountain
part,
with a hammer.
the more confident
That
you
act of
are
climbing,
in what you're
in the
doing,
digital world or in real
the
life,
better it will
has
work
certain
out for
essential
you.
properties that give the game
So
its
like
flavor.
this windmill action, if
No
you just
amount
kind
of
of
forward
twirl your
progress is
mouse around,
guaranteed.
it'll let you get up a
Some
lot of
cliffs
things like
are
this.
too sheer or too slippery.
Like if I
And
just,
the player is constantly,
all I'm doing is making a
unremittingly
circle,
in danger of falling and losing
and there you go,
control.
you make it right to the top.
Anyway, when you start Sexy
And as long as you
Hiking,
just
you're
kind of
standing next to this dead
chill
tree that blocks the way to the entire rest of the game.
and do that,
It might
you'll
take you
really
an
get
hour
through a
to
lot
get
of this
past that
game.
tree, and a lot of people never got past it. You prod and you poke at it, exploring the limits of your reach and your strength, trying to find a way up and over. And there's a sense of truth in that lack of compromise. Most obstacles in video game worlds are fake. You can be completely confident in your ability to get through them. Once you have the
Honestly, I
correct
feel like this
method, or
is
the correct equipment, or just by spending
topical
enough
for the time,
in that sense,
but
every
most
pixelated
games have kind of
obstacle in
gone away
Sexy
from this
Hiking is
design.
real. The obstacles in Sexy Hiking are unyielding, and that makes the game unique.
Like I know that every game
But I'm not sure
that I play
Jazuo
really
intended to make a
doesn't
frustrating game.
give it to you anymore.
Frustration is just essential to
That's
the
a
act of
design
climbing,
decision
and it's
that
authentic
has
to the process
more or
of
less
building
fallen
the
out of
game.
favor because people didn't like it.
A funny thing happened to me as I was
Now
building
granted, I
this
think
game.
this is too far
I'd have
in the
an
other
idea for a
direction.
new obstacle, and I'd build it, test it, and it would usually turn out to be unreasonably hard. But I couldn't bring myself to make it easier. It already felt like my inability to get past the new obstacle was my fault as a player rather
This
than
part's
as a
actually
builder.
really easy. If you just kind of
Imaginary
flail
mountains
around
build
left and
themselves
right,
from our efforts to
you
climb
can
them.
kind of keep
And
yourself
it's our
up by
repeated
just
attempts to reach the
smacking
summit
with a
that
different
turns
mouse.
those mountains into something real.
And even if you fall, honestly,
When
it's
you build in a
okay.
video game world, you're building with ideas. And that can be like working with quickset cement. You mold your ideas into a certain shape that can be played with. And in the process of playing with them, they begin to harden and set until they're immutable, like rock. And at that point, you can't change the world. Not without breaking it into pieces and starting fresh with new ideas. For years now, people have been predicting that games would soon be made out of prefabricated objects.
Funny
Put in
enough,
the store
prefabs are a
and
big
assembled
thing
in
in
the
Unity.
world.
So,
And for the most part,
yeah.
that hasn't happened. Because the objects
But
in the stores are trash.
prefabs are, yeah.
I don't mean they look bad or that they're badly made.
Oh, this part used to be really hard. If you
I mean
jump
they're trash
at
in the
this
way that
rock
food
and
becomes
then
trash
windmill
as soon as you
around
put it in
this
the
way,
sink.
it actually
Things
becomes a
are
lot
made
more
to be consumed
consistent.
and used in a certain context.
So like if I just
Once the
go
moment is
here
gone, they
and then jump,
transform into garbage.
whoop, like that,
In the context of technology,
it works almost
those
every
moments
time.
pass by in seconds.
And then you could just take this part a little bit slow. Or you could keep doing
Over
this.
time, we've poured more and more refuse into this vast digital landfill that we call the internet. It now vastly outnumbers and outweighs the things that are fresh and untainted and unused.
It's
When
true.
everything
It's
around
always
us
hard
is
to be
cultural trash,
original.
Trash becomes the new medium, the lingua franca of
There
the
you go.
digital age. And you can build culture out of trash. But only trash culture. Be games, be movies, be music, be philosophy. Maybe this is what digital culture is. A monstrous mountain
Be
of
games,
trash,
be
the ash heap
movies.
of creativity's fountain.
I'd
A
say if you could make
landfill of everything
something
we ever thought
new
of,
and original
grand,
out of something that
and unsorted.
is sort of recycled content, it becomes its own
There's
thing.
3D models of
There's good
breakfast,
games
Gen
released on
X's
Unity.
fanfic novels, scan magazines, green screen Shia LaBeouf, banned snuff scenes on LiveLeak. Facebook's got lifelike bots with unbranded adverts and candid shots of Kanye and Taylor Swift mashups, car crash epic failed GIFs, Russian dashcam vids, discussions of McRibs, discarded, forgotten, unrecycled, muddled, rotten, untitled.
Fuck this hat. Also, Bennett Foddy
Everything's fresh
fancies
for
himself a
about
poet.
6 seconds, until some newer thing beckons, and we hit refresh. And there's years of persevering, disappearing into the pile, out of style, out of sight.
You know, I will say he has a point about
In this context, it's
the
tempting to make
hyper
friendly content that's
ADHD
gentle,
style
let
of
you churn
internet.
through it, but not earn it. Why make something
That
demanding
said, I feel
if
like
it
this
just gets
game
piled up in the landfill,
is,
filed
in a
in
way,
with the bland
gentle.
things?
Like, it's difficult, but it caters to that
When
exact
games were
feeling
new,
of,
they wanted a lot from
like,
you.
6 seconds
Daunting,
of,
taunting you, resetting and delaying
I don't
you.
know.
Players played
It caters to
stoically.
that 6
Now everyone's
seconds
turned off
of,
by that. They want to burn through it quickly.
I
Fix
guess,
for the fickle, some tricks for the clicks of the feckless.
yeah,
But
it's
that's
hard to
not
speak
you,
over
you're an
him.
acrobat. You could swallow a baseball bat.
I promise you I can't. But, I feel like this game
Now I know
is
most
in
likely
every
you're
way a
watching
video
this
game.
on YouTube or Twitch, while some dude with 10 million views does it for you.
I wish,
like a
dude.
baby bird being fed chewed up food.
I
That's
was
culture
way
too.
too stubborn. The second I heard that line, I immediately bought this
But on the
game.
off chance that you're playing this, what I'm saying is, trash is disposable,
But
maybe it doesn't have to be approachable. What's the
like,
feeling
this
of
is a game in the
outrage,
purest
stress? I
sense.
guess you don't hate
You
it.
move,
got this far, feeling frustrated.
you
It's
play.
underrated.
It's not really like a chore to play this
An
game.
orange is sweet, juicy fruit locked inside a bitter peel. That's not how I feel about a challenge.
Boop.
I only want the bitterness. It's coffee. It's grapefruit. It's licorice.
This game is a
It
game.
feels like we're closer.
Funny
now.
enough, I didn't recommend
Closer
it.
in climber, designer, and user.
I still don't recommend this
You could
game
have
even.
refused, but you
I don't think
didn't.
it's very fun.
There was something in you
But-
that was hidden, that chose to continue.
It's a rage game. It's meant to get to you.
It means a lot to me that you've
And
come
the
this
message
far,
here
endured this much. Every
is really
wisecrack, every insensitivity,
interesting.
every setback you've forgiven.
In some
me is
cases, he's
kingly
got a
gift
point.
That you've given me. We have the same taste, you and I. It's not ambition. It's ambition's opposite. An obdurate mission to taste defeat.
No,
feel
that I
bad
can
if you
agree
win.
with.
So I put this snake in for you.
This part just has a bunch of invisible notches. Also, he's actually caught up to where I am. Yeah, this is another part where you just kind of flail. Or you could memorize the notches, but, nah. There's one here, one here.
Have you thought about who you are in this?
Nope.
Are you the man in the pot, Diogenes? Are you his hand?
There we go.
Are you the top of his hammer? I think
Ah,
not. Where your hand moves, the hammer may not follow. Nor the man. Nor the man's hand.
this part always makes me take
In
so
this here his
long.
will, his intent.
It's
the
like right
embodied
here.
resolve
Damn, barely
in its
missed it.
uphill ascent.
You just flail about. I know I'm making this look fairly easy. It's not, yet it is. It's kind of just... Ah. I've beaten this game a few times. My first time took a few hours. think only like 3 or 4, but it's been so long now. I don't think it's a fun game. I wouldn't recommend it as such. It's a game that you play to brag to your friends. It's a game that had a goal to it that I don't really think it hit, and yet it's become such a cult classic that it's hard to say he failed. Granted, it was a game that Markiplier picked up, and any game Markiplier picks up, people will try. I agree and I disagree with him. I think that it is an issue how people are so quick to pick things up and drop them. I think it's an issue how there's this constant feed of stimulation that everyone is just used to.
Construction site, the granite rocks,
But
lakeside.
it also gives you opportunity, you know?
There's no way left to go but up.
You
And
get
in
to
moments, I'll
experience
shut
and
up.
see
But let
so
me
many
say,
things because of how the internet works that the culture you get from it isn't,
I
it doesn't
dedicate this
feel
game to you.
artificial, even though it
We
is.
came this far. I give
Yes,
it to
yes,
you with
we're being
all
seduced
my
by him right now. The philosophy on it is interesting. But I feel like in a way, this game isn't quite as hard as he makes it out to be. It's definitely frustrating. I didn't mean to skip that. Okay. It's definitely frustrating. But it's not... We're gonna just play through it again, and I'm gonna actually respond to him. Back? Can I really not get rid of his sound? Oh, there we go. Get rid of that. And then, trackpad tuning makes this game feel a lot better, by the way. And then just play with your mouse sensitivity and whatnot. But let's actually take some time to address all of the things he talks about in greater detail. Internet trash culture is real. There's so much stuff that I don't really find very funny or interesting that is just kind of spit out at you. But it doesn't mean that the internet itself is trash just because it has so much culture, or it has so much content. Let's not even call it culture. Internet culture and internet content are two different things, but in some ways the culture dictates the content. I mean, everyone sees it. We all have that one friend who can't put their phone down, can't step away, can't interact with others for like 10 to 15 seconds without needing to pull out something. They speak in memes, you talk to your friends in short in-jokes, and you know, it's all fine. But there is something that feels artificial to it. And in that, I'll agree. It's not earned and genuine anymore. It can feel like your friends and interactions are fake. But specifically with gaming, I mean, like, just look at this. In the truest sense of the word, this is a game. It is a different type of game than one like Mario, where you run and jump. And that formula of running and jumping is, you know, it's been done a million times in different ways. I wouldn't say that it doesn't make you earn it anymore. If you compare Mario to, like, Celeste, it's just Celeste is the progression. I also don't think most people would call Celeste a B game, though, so... But it is. It was indie. It's just the people who worked on it were incredibly passionate and skilled. And they made something that was that ended up being an incredibly good game. So what would I consider this? Because for every good game like that, you've got your Hentai vs. Evil, your Pretty Girls Panic, your quick cash grab games that just kind of exist for the purpose of making money, and they don't really add anything new, and I'm pretty sure I just grabbed the straight sheer wall there and pulled myself up. Are they an issue? Are they part of a problem? Are they appealing to a lowest common denominator? Of just, hey, it's a quick fix for the fickle. I think everyone is inherently fairly fickle on the internet. But also, as long as you make something of quality, it will eventually be found and consumed. I'm bad at the skip, so we're going to work on this for a sec. But this is... getting good at things is one of the most genuine processes that humans have to deal with. You will always start out bad. And I think there is some distaste for that nowadays that comes from the fact that, hey, you can watch someone else do it and they'll make it look easy, and that's demoralizing. There's a million videos of people easily nailing piano songs if you want to learn piano. There's a million different videos of people beating this game with world record times. But there's value in... I don't know. Just as there's value in trying and failing and succeeding eventually, that I think is the point of this game, there's also value in, there's also value in just trying a lot of things. There's value in doing something quick that's just meant to take your time for a second. Not everything needs to be a long-term project. But I think it's a little bit self-righteous to say that this game is forcing you to be better than you are. I mean, just right there, I stopped going for a speedrun strat that I was struggling with because this was easier. It's about a balance, Sometimes it's nice to just get that quick fix. Sometimes you need to sit there and really work. I think that if you always need to be fully occupied in whatever you're doing, then you're not going to be very spontaneous and fun. If you always need that constant stimulation, and you can't stand to be bored for 2 seconds and put in some effort, you're not going to be able to get anywhere. There's a time for discipline. There's a time for just sporadic fun. Turning off your brain. Just letting things happen. Always knock down the orange. By the way, if you make it past this part, you've basically won. This is the final hard part of the game. I've always been the type to gravitate towards a challenge. Some people say that it's because I'm stubborn. Some people just think I'm a masochist. And both are fine. But I've also never been the type to get mad unless I feel like the game is cheating me. This game doesn't cheat you. It will reset you, it will annoy you, or at least try to, and it will give you music that you might not want to hear. Bennett Foddy can come off as self-righteous and irritating. I don't love listening to him. Yet, this is one of the only games that I've reviewed on Steam. And I said I wouldn't recommend it. I actually don't even remember why at this point, but I can imagine. It's because it's not a game... It's a game that you play to prove to other people you can play it. It's a game that you do because it gives you a sense of satisfaction in doing something that others can't. But I mean, a lot of people can't beat Mario. A lot of people struggle with platformers. You know, but is the experience of beating this game wasn't fun, but it also wasn't satisfying. I didn't beat this game and go, I did it. I beat getting over it with Bennett Foddy. I went, great. I grinded it until it worked, because that's just my personality type. If you're not getting frustrated I remember, if the game doesn't frustrate you, if you're not the type to get mad at a game for being clunky, then you miss a lot of the point of this game. This was made for a very specific type of person to play and enjoy. And most people won't be that person. If it's cheap, it's worth trying, if you have a friend. But unless you just want to beat it to prove you can, then I don't know why you'd play it. I don't know why I play it. I have games that are like this that I find to be much more fun. And yet, I do keep coming back. And maybe it's just because I want to hear Bennett Foddy's wonderful narration and poetry. I don't know. Whoop. You know, I have a strategy that works 100% of the time for doing that part, and I just keep not doing it. It's, in a way, this game's oddly relaxing. There's no expectations on you. The climb is just a thing to do. And it's kind of funny, because that's exactly what he's speaking out against. This game is quite literally something I do because it's a quick fix for when I want to do nothing else. It takes just enough focus to not be brain dead, while also just not really being something I think a lot on. Like, obviously, if I give it more focus, I do better. Right now, I'm mostly falling here because I'm not giving it my focus. But it's not... This isn't what I'd call a chore. There's some games that feel like a chore. This feels, especially because you can beat it so quickly, more like just something to do. Anyway, full power jump, swing hammer, and fuck it up. Show off your epic beach ball skills. I'm just gonna let this rock. I don't care if I've been a little bit redundant in my commentary. If I never release anything, I'll never improve. And I think, you know, if there's one lesson that I really should take from this game, it's probably that. To improve, you need to do something. That was fun. In most of these parts with close walls, if you just kind of swing the hammer back and forth, you can bop yourself around, as I said earlier. Like, whoop. If I clear the orange part, by the way, I'm basically done the run. Dude, that's not the way to do it. This game is speedrunner friendly. The trophies suck though. Like, beating it 50 times is not what I feel should have been a trophy. Because that kind of proves my point about what this game is. I think its marketing was incredibly intelligent though. It made a point. He knew he was making a rage game, and he called out all of the people who'd be watching players like Markiplier play through this. He straight up called them out. He said, yo, are you gamer enough to beat this game? And most of them probably went, it's a $6 game, picked it up, and then didn't like it. Did they blame the game? Did they blame themselves? I don't know. Like I said, when I picked this up, I played for 3 hours probably, wrote a review and said, it's not a fun game. Don't get baited by it. You probably won't like it. And now I've got Steam telling me, hey, you've played an additional 8 hours. You want to change your review? And I go, no. No, I don't. I don't know. By being difficult, does it give the illusion that you're doing something productive? By being obtuse and hard to swallow, is it holding some inherent value greater than something that's meant to be fun? We all only have so much leisure time at any given point. So many hours in our lives. Is beating something that's just trying to be hard, when there's so many things in the world that are just hard to begin with, a good use of your time? I don't believe so. But I also think that there is some value in trying this game. Like, just for 5-10 minutes. And seeing if it's the type of thing that would be fun. And you know, I will say, if you're the type of person who does get mad at this stuff, but also, you know, wants to get over that, games like these are great for that. Because at the end of the day, every failure is on you. And if you're the type to get mad at failure, then the only thing to do is just keep trying. But if you're the type who knows that you'd pick this up and you'd just either get bored or you'd play it apathetically until you won, which is what I did. I'm pretty sure, like, 8 hours later I won, but I didn't get mad once. It's just, I got tired of playing it. I think there's games that are similar in style to this, where they were hard. I mean, this game spawned a lot of shameless, not copies, but similar games, which is fairly ironic once again. Pogo Stuck, for example, is one I really like. Jump King, similar game design. Spawned off this. Which, I wonder if those would be considered B games. But they all have the same feeling of, you can't fail. You can only have to do it again. Perseverance as a difficulty. Can you keep beating yourself against this wall until it breaks? Are you stubborn and or talented and or whatever enough to just make it work? As you just go through the motions. I think my best time for this game is like an 8-minute run, maybe 7. Oh no. Wonder if I could still get music even without the extra voiceover. But, I don't know. I'm trying to make a game, and I'm making it in Unity. Unity is big on prefabs. But good things can come out of Unity. Phasmophobia is a good example. A game that is built in Unity, but has a lot of unique ideas of its own. And it's the custom parts of it that gives it its unique identity. I literally made no progress there. Ooh, I almost actually fell. Hey, you do get the music. I appreciate what this game did. But I don't like it. Because I just end up disagreeing. I don't know. If I could, I would gladly talk to Bennett Foddy about his opinions on it. Because most of us just don't have the ability to make a full game. We don't have the time, we don't have the resources, we don't have the team. We're not going to open up our JavaScript files and just start going to town and make a Sly Cooper sequel. We don't have the time or the skill. So we need to rely on prefabs, and that does make a lot of games feel similar. Everyone sees Unity nowadays and goes, oh, shit, another Unity game. And yeah, I think that is a problem when the games are very low effort. But most people don't like low effort games. They don't like these heavily monetized cash grabs. Those have not become popular. But at the same time, games that are custom made and look beautiful but don't have soul also aren't popular. Quality, fun, uniqueness, all of them contribute. If you're going to make something, it doesn't need to be completely fresh. It also doesn't need to be it doesn't have to be completely fresh, but it also doesn't have to be completely... This song is breaking my concentration, holy shit. Doesn't have to be completely fresh, but it also doesn't have to... It also shouldn't That's what I'm trying to say. It also shouldn't be completely derivative. I take the Souls-likes, for example. They're a dime a dozen. Most of them add something. Mortal Shell has its Harden and weird combat arts that half work. God of War, or not God of War, the hell was that game called? It was a PS5 title. Oh, thank God that's over. I don't mind that song, it just is irritating. Godfall, that's what it is. Godfall has its being bad. Surge also had that. Are there any good Souls-likes? Everyone that's popping to mind is terrible. Shit. Alright, maybe a bad example. Maybe Platformers is a good one. Platformers have been done so many times, but they keep adding new things to them. Keeping it fresh. I actually suck. You can make something derivative that's good. You can make something original that's bad. There's a lot that you can sift through, but quality more than originality always stands out. And I think now that I've finally organized these thoughts in a way that I like, it'd be great if I was able to just win this game one more time. But that's not how life works. How the hell did I do this so easily? Whatever. Probably just went up and then bam. Yep. There's like a magic pixel that you can grab there. Undertale is a good example. Five Nights at Freddy's, good example. They're games that aren't really new, but they had quality to them, at least until Security Breach, which is a little bit of a hot mess. They had a vision to them. They got played by Markiplier. That always helps. But all these games, you know, they did something. Papers, Please is a game that most people would hear the concept, they'd hear the elevator pitch for it, and they'd go, that sounds terrible. And yet it somehow became a cult classic. I would even say mainstream. Most people know of it. Also, fun fact, you could skip this anvil jump by climbing this rock, although it's much less consistent. Anyway. I'll try it once. Yeah, okay. No, whatever. Oop. There's a lot of games that if you gave an elevator pitch for it, nobody would be interested. And yet the quality of the games means that given enough time, they kind of speak for themselves. I mean, I'm positive that there's a lot of great games that are being overlooked. You know? That's just the internet. But I also feel like all it takes is you putting it on Steam, and someone will find it. And Steam's also gotten much better at, you know, making products actually have to have some quality assurance and guidelines. Anyway, we're going to take this a little bit slow because I'm tired of doing this part. Put yourself here. There you go. Bring this around and jump.
No.
Yes, indeed. And now at this point, you're basically home free. Whoop, whoop. Ooh, ooh. There we go. You can mess this part up, but you really shouldn't. The key to this game is really just confidence. The second that you start doubting yourself, you're going to start making mistakes. Like that. I should have just pulled harder. Stop the bucket. Smack myself around. Ah. I've rode the snake before. It's a fine time. Wah wah. So I really feel like I've lost the plot at this point. That's fine though. This was meant to be a calm, just playthrough. I'm bad. Tragic even. Well, that's a good grab. If you get it right on the edge like that, just throw yourself up, left or right side.
No.
And boom. Now we're here. The part that I have zero strategy for. There it is. That was good. And now we reach the end. It's like... I don't know. I think that this is a game that had to be made. I think that this is a game that a lot of people love. I think that this is a game that barely counts as a game. But at the end of the day, it is an interesting question that it poses. How much of our culture is trash? How much is it okay? Am I actually going to get a perfect space, Lamal? How much is it okay for things to be derivative? As we continue on, do we strive for originality? Like, this game's original, but is it good? I think that's a question that only each person can answer themselves. And in real life, I think the biggest takeaway from this game is that as long as you whatever tools you have, whatever means you have to attempt to make something, if you put your all in, you keep working at it, eventually you'll be able to make something that people will like. And there's a lot of ways that you can blame the circumstance. You can blame the game being, for example, let's just bring it back to games for a second. You can blame the game being clunky. You can blame the hammer. You can get mad about all the falls. You can be frustrated in numerous different ways. It all comes back, though, to the fact that you just haven't made it yet. You just keep working on it. Keep trying. Don't concern yourself with whether it's new or original. And you'll get there. If this game was meant to be a metaphor for trying anything in life, then I think it succeeds. Now, I didn't particularly want a metaphor, but, just keep trying. You'll get there. You'll make something that people like. You might look at it and think, but I already have and no one likes it. Well, it's probably just not good enough yet. Life won't relent to you. You've got to make it. Just because you're satisfied doesn't mean you've done it. Set a goal, work for it, try again. Anyway, I did all this to gather Dark Souls 3 footage. Stupid as that sounds. And then I just felt the need to talk about it because the philosophy of this game is interesting. I'm sure this was fairly rambly, probably a little long, and I definitely could have done better. But if I don't put anything up on YouTube, I'll never get anywhere. So, hope you enjoyed. Take care. She's in 2017.